Good morning now, racing fans, and welcome back to the channel. The day is finally here. The Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe is upon us, but we've also got some fantastic action on the card before and after as well. We saw some superstars yesterday. Kyprios is a worldie, and we will be seeing some more today for sure. And we're going to kick right off in the 1:15, the first race on the card. Antarctic is the favourite at 5-2. And I'm going to be opposing this Aidan O'Brien one. I might be left with egg on my face, but I just think this horse has had quite a tough season and has been beaten a few times when it really should have been winning. It has been beaten by Blackbeard a few times now. If Blackbeard wasn't a horse, this horse would have won 2 Group 2s and a Group 1 by now. So that just says how good Blackbeard is and how unlucky the Antarctic has been to bump into Blackbeard. But I just think it's been a long season. The step up to 7 furlongs, the soft grounds, there's a few reasons why this horse could be opposable, even though it has proven it can travel to France no problem. It's already won races over in Deauville, beating Manhattan Jungle, Amy Murphy's horse. But I'm just going to oppose the favourite here. Also not too convinced on the other Irish rider, Shartash. I think the latest performance in a Group 1, there was quite a few horses that underperformed. Alrifa won it that day, didn't have too much form on the table either. The favourite Aesop's Fable pretty badly underperformed in my opinion. I don't think that form is worth too much, and the one I'm going to side with is Blaise Sky for Christophe Soumillon, who's been in the headlines for all the wrong reasons in the last few days. He's got his ban, he's learnt his lesson. Should he be able to ride today? Well, that's another question, but people say no, he should never ride again. I think people are forgetting that a lot of the superstars in this spot have made the mistake, and if you cut people out after they make a mistake, then it's not a sport that is exactly at the highest level. Look, Christophe Soumillon's never going to do that again, and in fairness, it does happen every day. If you remember back to Haydock, Free Wind and Ishada, I think it was, when Jim Colley shut the door, Rob Havlin had to literally pull his horse up, clipped heels, nearly fell, and I think a lot of this reaction has been how bad the fall actually was. If Rossagarin got a bump and stayed on the horse, no one would be making a big deal of it. So I just think that the reaction has been slightly over the top, although of course the biggest thing is Rossagarin is okay, which is of course the most important thing. But I think Soumillon can get back on track with Blaise Sky here, who's been mightily impressive in the first 2 performances when making all. The third start wasn't so good, but was still beaten only a short head at the end of the day. Wasn't able to make all that day. That was probably a reason why he's a little bit of a complicated ride. So I think if Christophe can bounce this one out in front, gradually wind this one up and not put the horse under maximum pressure from the get-go, then this horse would have an each-way chance at 7-1. Onto the 150, and it's a Group 1 over the mile. I'm taking a chance on the English rider. Bridge for John Quinn and Jason Hart was mightily impressive on its first start, then went backwards when beaten by Rousing Encore at Pontefract. That was over 6 furlongs on fast ground. Completely different conditions today, over a mile on soft ground, and its only start on soft ground has been quite impressive when she was second at Goodwood behind Fairy Cross. That was over 7 furlongs, shaped as if a mile would suit. Definitely does on breeding, and I just think Jason Hart is already back in Group 1's left, right and centre thanks to Highfield Princess. This could be another one for him today at 20-1. Can definitely run a huge race. Going to skip out the 225. It's the Arabian World Cup for the Arab horses. Not too much that I know about that, apart from Ebraz always seems to run well in these kind of races, so that would be one to keep an eye on, at least at 9-1. But onto the Arc, we've already done a preview. If you want an in-depth preview, you can check out my latest video, but the horse I'm siding with is Torquator Tasso, the German horse looking to win the race back-to-back years, and everything is in its favour today. The heavy ground, Frankie Dettori on board, has run well in its preparation races, a strong pace, heavy ground. The wide draw I think is a good thing as well. It was slightly keen in this race last year. The wide draw, I think Frankie Dettori can keep this horse wide early on, switch it off, tack across slowly, and it could be like Trawlerman in the E-Boys, just going to keep it out of contention a long way ease the course, and then really make use of this horse's stamina. And I don't think any horse would want it more than Torquator Tasso. Is a really game horse. Frankie Dettori under the drive, 7 Arc de Triomphes for the jockey. That could be in contention at about 3:10 this afternoon. Final tip of the day comes in the 10-4, the Puy de la Opera. I'm going to go with Agave at 50-1. Was potentially a worldie based on this horse's first few starts, and then it's kind of gone backwards since then. Its first defeat came in the hands of Ernesto, who finished second in the Irish Champion Stakes behind Luxembourg. That wasn't bad at all, and was not beaten too far by Nashwa of a mile and 2 at Chantilly. Was beaten just over a length that day, so that form has worked out pretty well, and was beaten in a Group 2 by the Jessica Harrington horse, then didn't stay a mile and a half on its latest start in the Puy de Mile at Longchamp, over a mile and a half, drops back in Troip. I think a nice quiet ride, travels so well into the races, and I think the less of a test on stamina, back on very soft ground, I think them two are the key to this horse, and at 50-1 is well worth a bet at a huge price. I wouldn't expect too much, but is closely matched on Nashwa based on this horse's penultimate start, and could be bouncing back to form, I think. So at 50-1, if you can get extra places, then go for it. But they're going to be my selections today. The best of luck for those who are playing, and I'll see you next time. But don't forget to like and subscribe.